Welcome back again to the Divine Marriage Relationships. We welcome each and every one of you and would love to share with you about having a divine marriage relationship. We want to discuss today and talk about protecting a marriage whenever there's conflicts, when there are things that try to challenge your marriage and try to interrupt its peace and its harmony and its happiness. We want to encourage everyone that you can get through the tough times, you can get through the conflicts, you can get through the distractions and have a blessed marriage relationship. And that's what we wanted to encourage everyone today, is to protect your marriage. We realize there are things that come from the outside to try to destroy marriages and try to take people and separate husbands from wives and have all kinds of crazy things in the mind of one against the other one. But we can overcome that, and we can have a blessed, divine marriage relationship. And that's what our goal is. And that's what we pray for. And that's what we pray for others to have. And so we want to encourage you, if you're in the middle of a conflictual stage of your marriage where it's a struggle, we want to let you know to hold on, because it's going to get better. Hold on, you can make it. Hold on, you can get to the other side, and you can have a blessed, wonderful, wonderful relationship forever. And that's what we want. Satan doesn't want us to have that. Our enemies don't want us to have that. But we want to have a divine marriage relationship. God bless you. Welcome again this morning to our classes and our sermon on the divine marriage relationship. This is Bishop Lawrence Brown Jr., the husband of Lady Tanya C. Brown. In these sermons and in these lessons, we are sharing things that we have learned and things that we have experienced that can happen and that did happen in a divine marriage relationship. Today, I want to encourage you and to share with you on how to protect your marriage, how to preserve your marriage. Marriage is one of the most powerful. In fact, I think it is the greatest relationship that individuals can enter into on the earth. Next to salvation and our relationship with God, almost in a different category from that, is marriage. And God has placed in marriage a sweetness, a divineness, a fulfillment of life, emotions, and our desires, our passions. He has put in marriage the joy of life. It's the institution on earth that has divine-like pleasures in the relationship and in the communication and all of those things that go with marriage. Marriage is intended by God to be bliss. But here on earth, here because of the fall of Adam, we have to work on our relationships. We don't have good, successful marriages by default. It just does not naturally happen. But we have to work on it. We have to be motivated by the flame of the love that we have for each other. So it takes us working at it in order to have a divine marriage relationship. Now, I would say to you, and I'll be honest with you, that no couple that has a beautiful marriage had no conflicts, had no trials, had no challenges, had no threats or intended damage to the union by Satan, I would be remiss and I would be misleading you to think that there are no conflicts and that there is nothing that threatens the security of that marriage. We are living in Adam's fallen world, and the general spirit of the world is a spirit that is against marriage and against all of the good things of God. So in marriage, we have to protect it and be intentional and be caring and be watchful. Today, our sermon is taken from Proverbs chapter 5, verses 18 and 19, where it says that a man should rejoice at the wife of his youth. He is to be intoxicated by her. He is to be infatuated by her. And he has to, just as a person who has a garden, have to pull out the weeds and trim and take care of his garden, so does a man and a woman have to take care of their marriage. When conflicts come, there are various stages of marriage. One stage is a stage of maybe conflicts, where there's conflicts and where there's a requirement to adjust to one another, to get to know one another. Sometimes when couples are in that stage, some things can get so rough and so hard, and your mind can imagine so much that sometimes that can even challenge whether or not the marriage is going to last. And the reason why those things happen is because the marriage is such a high thing that high and deep things happen to it to challenge it. So think it not strange when you find yourself really challenged. Those of you who are in that stage of conflict, that don't be surprised if something comes to you that almost will tear apart your marriage. But I'm here today to tell you that it doesn't have to tear apart your marriage. Your marriage can last. Your marriage can work. I think everyone has had a conflict stage, a stage of trial. And to get past that, to get over to the other side, the side of ease and bliss, where my wife and I are, but we went through conflicts. And I want you to be honest with you that we went through some severe conflicts. But we're rejoicing today because God has brought us through. And this is, when you overcome, this is the reason why when you go to people's 50th wedding anniversary, 40th wedding anniversary, and some I've even went to 70th wedding anniversary, there's so much joy because of what they went through to get there. And you have to be willing to go through it. Love your mate to get there, to get to the side. There's a place you get to if you stay together where it'll be easier and you'll have more understanding and you'll be almost welded together, almost unbreakable, almost inseparable, almost, I'm using a strong word, but it's the only word I know how to describe it, impossible to separate, impossible to divorce. Wouldn't you like to get to that stage where it's impossible for you to divorce because of all that is in the marriage that has actually mellowed it together to the point where it's unbreakable? Yes, you can get there. And that's what God's intent is, that we love one another and that we be married forever. I'm so thankful that I am in a marriage that is unbreakable. And I want to encourage you, those of you who are married, that if you go through the stage of conflict, that you will think to hold on to your marriage. Even though there may be angers and there may be things that try to destroy, to break the marriage up, go through it. Communicate in your marriage. Show one another concern. Save your marriage. Save your marriage. And then you'll be happy, happy, happy ever after. Yes, it's worth it to come through conflicts and misunderstandings and love one another and to enjoy a beautiful married life. It's worth it all when you can come to a point in your marriage where you both love one another and where conflicts become so unimportant and they become so small that they do not overshadow, nor do they overtake the sweetness in the marriage. It's a wonderful thing when you can see conflicts differently. Conflicts seem so small. They're like the high places. Once you get to a certain place in the marriage, they're like the high places that were once such a challenge to you that would make the relationship seem endangered or not so valuable. But when your love grows and it becomes so insurmountable, so great, it overshadows any conflicts or any misunderstandings or any things that you don't understand, or maybe even those things you don't even like. If those things they're no longer important. They no longer have any kind of overbearing influence that would dampen out the love. When your love is stronger than conflicts, when your love is more powerful than conflicts, then you can go through life and love, and the conflicts really don't have the same effect as they did when you were immature. So protect your marriage. Husbands, love your wives. Wives, love your husbands. And protect the goodness that is in a marriage. It's yours. God gave it to you. And you are together, and God put you together. And don't let Satan make you think that you shouldn't be together, because you should be together. If God allowed you to be together, then you belong together. And regardless to the distractions, and regardless to how deep the problem may seem, or how high the mountain that you're trying to climb together is not higher than God's grace to bring you through it. Bring you through it with love and joy and togetherness. So we say today, don't throw away your marriage, but keep your marriage and enjoy it. Please share this with someone else, some other couples, to encourage them that the marriage relationship is the greatest relationship on earth that a man can have with another person, that a woman can have with another person. It is the most powerful, the most richest, and most fulfilling relationship possible on earth. God bless you. And join us again next week on the Divine Marriage Relationship as we'll continue to celebrate and discuss marriage. God bless each and